Hello and welcome. This is Dr. Charles Barrage, owner of Too Good Health Coaching, and I want to thank you for taking the time to join us on this webinar today, where we are going to expose the lies that are sabotaging your weight loss success. And then we're also going to show you the 5 simple steps that you can take to achieve lasting weight loss. So who are we? We are Too Good Health Coaching. We are a premier virtual weight loss solution for busy women. And just to give you a little bit of overview in terms of our mission, the reason why we exist, well, quite simply, we exist for you. We provide busy women, moms in particular, the bodies that they desire. And at the same time, we want to give you back your time. We want to show you how you can accomplish all your weight loss goals despite the challenges that you're going to face on a daily basis. And quite simply, our secret sauce for success is our caring team. We have coaches that truly care about your success, and our amazing community that we have developed of coaches and weight loss members, all with the common goal, which is to connect and to share and to grow together so that everyone succeeds. And lastly, our proprietary system that actually guides you all the way down the path to success. And to be honest, we want to be a safe place for you. We want to be a place where genuine friendships can develop in your life that allow for a supportive and an accountable coaching and peer relationship, because when that happens, we feel like that's where the magic is, and we feel like that's where the results happen. So let's get started, okay? What if everything that you knew about weight loss was wrong? What if everything you've been told simply wasn't true? Would you want to know why the harder you try to lose weight, it just won't budge? Well, that's the experience of many women out there. They have scoured the internet. They've watched all the shows. They have read all the articles and books that they can find, and yet they're still struggling to lose weight. Have you ever asked yourself why that is? Well, tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to expose the scams, and we're going to show you exactly how you can achieve results. So are you searching for an answer right now? Are you looking for the solution to your weight loss struggles? Have you tried and pretty much spent lots of money on products and things that you thought would really help you to achieve quick weight loss? Well, before you give up hope, okay, there is something that I really want you to know, and it is not your fault. It's just not. And to be honest with you, you've been lied to. In our culture, we are so marketing driven that misleading weight loss and advertising is everywhere. And to be honest with you, they're preying on you because they know that women are a vulnerable group, because they know that they're so focused and desperate for quick weight loss and for effortless results. And all they really have to do is to market to you, to show you something that tickles your ears perhaps, and that gets you to buy, right? That gets you to invest, that gets you to give them your money, all the while they don't deliver what they have been promising you all along. Okay, and that brings us to our obesity epidemic. If you think about it, more than 69% of Americans are trying to either lose weight or control their weight. On top of that, you have 71 million Americans who are going to go on a diet this very year and spend well over $50 billion on weight loss pills, programs, products, and procedures, desperate for a cure to end their suffering. And then you have to ask yourself, why are we not lean, fit, and healthy if we have so much out there right now that's designed to help women achieve the weight loss goals that they have? Why do we continue to fail? That's a very good question, and I think you should ask, because when you start asking these questions, I think that's when you're going to start finding out more and more about where the lies are, where the scams are, and exactly what the truth is. And tonight, we want to tell you the truth about what's going on. All right, so prepare to be shocked, because I'm going to unveil our top 3 lies and scams that are not only making you, but keeping you fat. And the other thing I'm going to address is this: when does a lie become an accepted truth? Well, truthfully, it's when the lie is repeated often enough. And before I move on, I want to talk about this because um, in our society, there's information out there, and I think we can all safely say that there's information overload. Okay, there is nowhere we can go where we can't find an answer to something that we're seeking to know. And for that very reason, you can go on the internet and try and find out information pertaining to weight loss, nutrition, fitness, and you will find information. But the question is, what's the quality of that information? Is it truthful? Or is it something that is simply being repeated, or something that has been repeated often enough that now when we see it, we don't question it anymore? And I think that's what's happened in our society, is that we simply have gotten to a place where everything that we're being told has not been vetted. It hasn't been confirmed by scientific evidence. And what that does is that puts us in a place where we're implementing strategies. We're utilizing tactics that we've learned about, that we've read, that someone has told us about, and then we're not getting the results that we want. And that's kind of where we are. We are in a predicament where people are implementing strategies and systems and eating plans and fitness routines, but they're just still struggling to get the results that they came for. All right, take a look at this picture. This picture is a perfect example of what I was talking about earlier when I mentioned that we are a marketing-driven society. Okay, the whole purpose of marketing, obviously, is to accentuate the positive and to hide the negative, right? So when you go shopping, and assuming that you're going up and down the aisles, which is what most people do, you will find multitudes of items on those shelves with long ingredients lists. And oftentimes, when you look at those ingredients lists, you will see names that you don't recognize, right? You'll see these long terms. You're also going to find advertising that's going to kind of be eye-popping, right? The things that stand out on the labels. And that's what I want to talk about now, is exactly what you should expect when you are at a supermarket shopping and you're going up and down the aisles, okay? All right, so number 1, we're going to talk about deceptive food advertising. All right, now take a look at these labels, okay? Because oftentimes what we're doing is there are lots of folks out there that are looking for healthy foods, right? And oftentimes when you look at the labels, you will see something that strikes your eye as a healthy term. You'll see something that strikes your eye as something that is appealing to you. As an example, when you look at the the label on, let's say, I can't believe it's not butter, right? And you'll see something that says no trans fat. Well, right away, that strikes your interest because you don't want trans fats. So when you see that, naturally, you're going to be excited to know that it has no trans fats. And then on top of that, as a second layer of marketing, they will say it's naturally cholesterol free. Well, again, so that's 2 things that you see on the label that get you excited. And what they're hoping that you don't do is take a look at the ingredients list, because if you look at the ingredients list, well, that's where the truth has to come out, okay? And the truth of the matter is that when you look at the ingredients list, you'll see a vegetable oil blend. Okay, so that means that you've got liquid soybean oil in addition to partially hydrogenated soybean oil. Okay, these are two things that you don't necessarily want in your diet. Okay, so when you see those things, then that's the truth. Okay, the no trans fat and the naturally cholesterol free, yes, those are good to know. But when you get down to it, okay, the question is, what is it that you're truly putting into your body? And you answer that question by reading your ingredients list, because by law, they're required to tell you exactly what's in your food. They will never put it on the front of the box or the bag or the package. So it'll be up to you to actually look at the ingredients list and to become educated as to what it is that you're reading. Okay. Deceiving diet foods. Let's take a look at some of these catchphrases or terms, because these are the things that they use to try and lure you in. Fat-free, zero trans fat, as we mentioned, sugar-free, low carb, wheat or whole grain. Those are all terms that when you consider them would get anyone excited when they were going shopping, because these are all things that we might look at and say that these are bad, right? These are bad terms, things that I don't want. And well, as far as marketing goes, they want you to get excited about those terms too. And they want you to get excited enough to not look at the ingredients list. So again, that's another reason to become educated about what exactly you are consuming. All right, some other examples. Okay, and these are some examples of what we call glorified junk food, right? So you have your Oreos, you got some the Little Bites, which again are marketed to the person who's more calorie conscious. Then you have certain labels like light. Again, that's another catch term, right? Or catchphrase. Light, natural. And all natural really is a clever way to hide ingredients, right? That have to be included on your nutrition facts label. So again, when you see these terms, again, in your head, what you want to do is you want to say, yeah, that's great, but let me take a look at the nutrition facts label and let me find out what's really going on in this product, okay? All right. All right. How about breakfast? Now, you've probably used one or multiples of these items that are listed on this page, okay? And yes, we all know that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, but did you know that the average American breakfast is loaded with sugar, trans fat, and empty calories? Yes, again, you need to eat breakfast. It's important, but it is very important, and I would say more important, that when you consider your breakfast food, that you be very careful in terms of what you're getting. Now, breakfast has been notorious for adding more sugar than anything. So when you consider grains for breakfast, such as cereal, breakfast bars, like you see with the Quaker Chewy oatmeal raisin bars, even certain things like your Slim Fast or other breakfast type shakes, oftentimes they are loaded with sugar, and oftentimes they can have more sugar than a Twinkie or some other pastry, cupcake, or cookies that you might have. So you have to be very, very careful in terms of how you approach your breakfast selections. All right, let's take a look at lunch for a second. Now, if you are health conscious, and particularly if you're weight conscious, you probably eat more salads than anything, whether it be for lunch or for dinner. But it is important that you know what the things are that may have the potential to sabotage what it is that you are trying to achieve when it comes to your salads, okay? Because oftentimes we will eat salads, and I would say probably partly because it makes us feel better, right? When we're eating a salad as opposed to a cheeseburger or fries, right? And I would say overall, a salad is a better choice. But remember, when you eat salads, you have to consider what it is that you're putting on the salad. So a typical salad might include some lettuce, whether it be romaine lettuce or some other type of ingredient. And from there, oops, sorry. You want to consider what else is contributing calories. So again, we have our lettuce and we have our tomatoes. We have our, may have some onions. But then when you consider what else, right? You may add cheese, you might add eggs, meat, croutons, and nuts. All that could run you approximately 400 additional calories, just those alone. And then we have our big culprit, which can just totally blow your whole calorie goal for that particular meal. And it would be your serving sizes, right? Particularly of your salad dressing. Now, a typical serving size, if you look at these labels, a typical serving size is 2 tablespoons. Okay, so if you use like a free, like a ranch dressing, you're looking at about 50 calories. If you're looking at something like oil and vinegar, okay, you're looking at about 150 calories per 2 tablespoons. Now, your typical American, okay, will use maybe 4 to 6 tablespoons. Now, if you add up those calories, what are we talking about, right? So we're talking about maybe, and this is like mind blowing, but you could be adding, if you use the oil and vinegar, you could be looking at what 800 or 900 calories if you use 6 tablespoons. So I mean, this is not something that you want. So you have to be very careful with your salaries because oftentimes we can relax. And when we relax and we just start adding things, we add the nuts, the eggs, the cheese, and we got this big old salad. And yes, you have your greens and you have your tomatoes, you may have some olives on there, some onions, and those are all kind of lower calorie. But when you throw in the rest, I mean, your salad, I put 600 calories here, and that was being modest. You can have a salad that can easily run you over 1,000 calories. And if you're someone who is being calorie conscious, that's obviously something that you can't have if you're trying to achieve some good results, right? Okay, so something to think about. And now let's take a look at lie number 2. Okay, and yes, your secret is definitely out when it comes to this one. Okay, and what the statistics are showing us is that you have been buying the as seen on TV products. Yes, so let's think about the ones that you've got. Maybe they're in your closet, your basement, wherever they are, you bought them. Now, it's possible you could have thrown them in the trash by now, okay, simply because you don't use them. But those commercials are very effective, and the reason why they are is because they show you, right? They lure you in because they're basically trying to get you to a place where you can see your need for these products, right? And so they will show you the man and the woman with the ripped abs and, everything's just tight and toned. And I mean, who wouldn't want to be like that, right? And so with that being said, I mean, over $518 million a year is being spent on exercise equipment that's bought exclusively through infomercials. So these infomercials do work, okay? And apparently they have worked on you too. Now, personally, I love infomercials because I like to watch them and see how, what it is that they're doing when they promote these products. And I must say, they do a very good job of promoting their products and making their products appealing. But what they don't do a good job of is getting you results, okay? And so what we can find is that, and what we see from this last statistic is that $207 million of that $518 million that's spent, is spent on abdominal equipment alone. So we are very focused on our midsections, okay? And I think it's, I think that's probably the area where the companies tend to focus their advertising as well, is helping us to achieve a trim and tone midsection. And they know that we are, as a society, fixed on our weight. And in particular, we're fixed on what our bellies look like. Okay. And we all want the ripped abs, and they know it, and they prey on that fact. Okay. So, yes, it is all about the abs, and so they show us how to target that ugly fat. They show us how to get ripped six-pack abs in just 30 days or your money back. Okay, they even can show you how to tone and sculpt those troubled areas, maybe the hips, the thighs, the arms, right? All those places where we might feel self-conscious, those are the areas where they go for the kill. And then they'll tell you that you can have abs of steel just like them, right? And you're just like, yeah, I can do it. And then what happens, right? Thousands of crunches, twists, hip hop moves, and yet nothing, right? And truthfully, those things that you're doing aren't bad, but there's one um, issue, there's one problem with what they're telling you, and they're basically telling you that you can spot reduce, right? You can focus on those abs and shrink them, but the reality is that muscle does not own your fat. Your muscle and your fat are two different entities. And while you may be working on that muscle, okay, you're not necessarily working on that fat. So really, to shrink those abs and get them the way that you want them, there has to be a total body effort, okay? All right, cardio overkill. Do you have 5 hours a week to work out with your busy schedule? Well, I happen to know that many people do not have that kind of time. And you may not either. If you're a busy mom, if you're someone who's working with not just your own schedule, but your kids' schedule, um, older family members, if you've got pets, if you've got a job that requires a lot of you, then you just simply don't have 5 hours. And you certainly don't have 5 hours to get dressed, go to the gym, work out, drive back home, and then do everything else you need to do. It's just too much time, and so many moms just can't make this type of commitment. All right, lie number 3: fat loss in a bottle. Okay, and these are some of the quotes that you may hear. Eat all the foods that you want and still lose weight. Lose up to 2 pounds a day without diet or exercise. Again, when you read these things, they make you excited, right? They get your hopes up, and the ultimate goal is to get you to buy. Okay, and so they'll tell you there'll be no hunger, because Lord knows when we get hungry, it's a bad idea, especially when we're on a diet. Okay, they'll tell you you don't have to exercise. They'll tell you that you can eliminate and dissolve, melt, flush away your fat. And then essentially what they're trying to do is they're trying to sell you the magic pill. And oftentimes, if it sounds too good to be true, it really is, okay? And so they're trying to get you to suspend your personal responsibility to do some of the things that you know you need to do. And that is a recipe for failure, okay? So don't buy in to the advertising, especially when it comes to weight loss products, okay? All right, so now let's take a transition here. We're going to transition from the problem to the solution, okay? And this is what we call our success formula here at Too Good Health Coaching. Our success formula includes these 5 things, and we're going to get into each one of them individually, okay? Because we want you to be well informed about exactly what you can do to lose all the weight that you want and to be able to keep it off, okay? That's the important distinction, okay, between what we offer and what the marketplace is offering you. All right, so what's your first step? If you are looking to lose weight and keep it off, there's one thing that you've got to to learn, that you've got to practice, that you got to focus on. And it is that um, you don't want to eat less food if you're trying to lose weight. You actually want to eat more food. And when I say that, what I don't mean is, gorging on food. I don't mean just not focusing and worrying about how many calories you're eating. But the thing I'm focusing on here is that when we make a transition from what we see out in society to what really is the truth, uh, that changes everything. And what society tells us is that less is best. If you can cut your calories, keep cutting and reducing and getting stricter and stricter on your calories, then the weight will just melt away. But unfortunately, that is the exact opposite of how our bodies work. You see, our bodies, when we eat more, our bodies actually burn more. Okay? So we have to give our body enough calories in order for it to be effective at burning calories. Okay, I know it sounds weird, but there's something else. It's not just about eating more, but it's also about eating better. Okay, we all know how to eat better generally. Okay, and you've all been told in the past to shop the four corners of the supermarket because you tend to get the items that are more likely to be in their natural state or their natural form. We're talking about fruits and vegetables, lean meats perhaps. We're talking about just your nuts and all the things that naturally occur in nature, whole foods, so to speak. And the key, particularly with step number one, is if we can get more of our whole foods that also include healthy fats, okay, that include our lean meats like chicken and beef, but also that include a healthy serving of fruits and vegetables, particularly the vegetables. The more colorful, the better, right? These are the things that really are the key to success. And to be honest with you, if you eat more of these foods, you're actually going to see better weight loss because it's not just about calories. It's also about being able to regulate your hormones. It's about being able to help you to keep your blood sugar stabilized. All the things that we really don't get told in society that are critical if our bodies are going to be effective at burning calories and keeping those calories, keeping that metabolism high so that you can eat and not be hungry and eat to satisfaction and be able to feel good about yourself, to get healthier, all the things that we truly want, but just haven't been able to achieve because society has been telling us all along that it's just about reducing calories. So I'm here to tell you that it's not just about reducing calories, okay? The more calories that you restrict, the less likely it is that you're going to reach your goals. So again, our key to your success is to eat better, eat more of the whole foods, eat more of the things that are going to give you the energy, the nutrition, and the calories that you need for your body to be as efficient and effective and vibrant and healthy as it can be. Okay, the goal is to energize yourself through food, okay, not torture yourself through severe calorie restricted diets that simply create cravings and create even a negative relationship with food. Okay, that is never the intent. It should never be the intent, is to get you to the point where you are so focused on food, you're so stressed out when it comes to food that you really can't even enjoy it anymore. Okay, that's not the goal. And so I want you to be aware of this, that it's all about, again, changing your mindset so that you can focus on eating more food and eating more of the right kinds of foods. That's the key. All right, moving on to step number two. All right, now this is a good one. This one, I think if you can get this one, especially when you combine it with step number one, you're going to really see some significant improvement in you, in one, in how you feel, and two, in exactly how quickly you'll start to see weight loss happen. Okay, and that is to mirror your metabolism. Now, what do we mean by mirror your metabolism? Well, in society, here's what we typically see. Okay, you wake up in the morning, you skip breakfast, and then typically you'll have a moderate sized lunch, typically because you're at work, right? And you don't want to overeat, or you maybe just don't have the opportunity to really eat a large meal. So you'll save that large meal for dinner time, right? And that's your typical American diet. And that's not even considering the snacks that you may have in between these meals, okay? But here's the problem with this type of pattern, okay? This is actually the exact opposite of how your daily metabolism actually works. So oftentimes, the way that our metabolism works is that when we wake up in the morning, as we start to get going, that's when we actually are burning the most calories because we're the most active, right? So, whatever job it is that you work, okay, and wherever it happens to be and whatever it may require, um, all of that is to be considered. But the true reality is that during those times of the day, from the time that you wake up till, let's say, dinner time, these are ideal hours for you to be able to burn the calories that you eat. So if you restrict your calories during these times of day, such as skipping breakfast, um, maybe eating a moderate lunch and then a large dinner, what's actually happening is as your metabolism is starting to come down later in the day, you're having your largest meal. And what that does is that creates some type of conflict there because your body is not in its ideal calorie burning state. And so oftentimes, after you have that large meal, you'll actually have trouble digesting it, not to mention other issues such as energy, having overall not feeling as good after you eat dinner. So the actual solution or the remedy to this is to think about changing the way that you approach your meals, okay? And so we want you to start mirroring your metabolism instead of working against it. So when you wake up, instead of skipping breakfast, how about you have a breakfast, okay? Get those calories in. Remember what we talked about. Be careful of the sugar intake because breakfast is the perfect time where people tend to pack on the sugar because of all the marketing of the different quick and easy breakfast items that you can have while you're on the go, right? So that's a time where you need to be very careful about what types of selections you make. But you do want to have breakfast because, again, you eat that breakfast, it gives you the energy that you need. And then, besides from having the energy that you need, what you're doing is you're giving your body the opportunity to burn off those calories, okay? And having your moderate sized lunch is okay, but we might recommend that you have a lunch that's maybe a little bit larger if possible, and it may not be possible. But the true key lies clearly with your dinner time, okay? Where most people will pack on the calories at dinner, okay? What you might want to consider is having a smaller dinner, okay? And if you're one who just loves to eat a large meal at dinner, then what we might ask you to do is maybe consider eating dinner earlier. Oftentimes, particularly in certain places of the country, certain cultures, they might get used to eating dinner late in the evening, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. That's simply too late to be getting that large amount of calories. And if you want to see weight loss, you will typically not see it with that type of pattern, okay? So step number two, mirror your metabolism. Have a breakfast as opposed to skipping breakfast. Have a large or perhaps a moderate sized lunch. And then for dinner, instead of making that a large meal, let's make it a smaller meal. And if that is not possible, then how about we consider moving dinner up to about 5 o'clock? What that does is give us about 3 hours. We can go from 5 to 8, where we're allowed to digest that food and where we're not actually going to bed trying to digest food that we ate at dinner time. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. But it's very important that we see that our normal metabolic rhythm, we definitely burn more calories. We have more calorie burning potential throughout the day, early in the day, middle of the day. And then as we start to move into dinner time and beyond, our metabolism is slowing down. So we cannot fight against it by providing ourselves with too many calories, because that's where we start to see our bodies holding on to weight because we're just having trouble digesting our food. And it's just too many calories for us to process at that time of the day. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. That's step number 2. All right, step number 3. All right, so this has to do with our exercise. And when you think about it, I think we all would agree that exercise is important. But I think that in society, we've been told to focus on the cardio, right? We've been told to focus on getting that heart rate up into our fat burning zone and stay in that fat burning zone as long as we can, because that's where we're going to burn those calories and see all that weight loss, right? But what we're finding now, particularly with the advent of more and more research, is that we do not need to spend all this time doing cardio. We do not need to spend even this number of days, 5 to 7 days a week, working out. We can accomplish what we want in far less time and actually in less frequency of workouts as well. But we have to be smart about it, okay? So if you're not a person that likes spending 45 to 60 hours a week doing cardio at the gym, every week, then that's okay. In fact, there is a perfect solution for you if you want to achieve weight loss success and actually have your body really in a position where you are burning maximum calories and maximum fat in just short, sweet workouts strategically placed throughout your week that will allow you to not just burn calories, but to also burn fat and to be able to actually build lean muscle tissue as well. Okay, and that's the true key to success, especially when we talk about the fact that our moms, women in particular, are just so busy handling everyone else's priorities, trying to get, an hour a day, 5 days a week is just unrealistic. Okay, and so what we like to do is provide you with a solution that allows you to see great results on just 3 days a week of exercise. But again, it has to be the right type, intensity, and you have to have the right activities that will allow you to succeed. But that is the key. Achieve the body that you want in less workouts and in less time. And that is absolutely something that can happen. Okay, so yes, you can ditch all the long cardio sessions. Okay, and now keep in mind, if you enjoy cardio, then by all means go for it. Okay, because there are more benefits to cardio. But that being said, if you're busy and you just don't have the time, you don't have to feel guilty about that. In fact, you can feel very good about a plan that allows you to achieve all your goals in 3 days a week in far less time than the 45 minutes to an hour that you might spend typically working out. Okay? All right, let's move on to step number 4. Building that lean muscle, okay? We have to build lean muscle. And when you build lean muscle, that's when all the magic starts to happen as far as your body transformation goes, okay? And here's one fact that you may not know, but most people actually lose weight when they're dieting. Okay, and typically this can be a result of four things. Okay, one, maybe you're not taking in enough calories. Two, maybe you're doing a little too much of what we talked about in step number 3, which is the slow go cardio. Okay, when you do that slow cardio, you're really not working your lean muscle. You're not building lean muscle. You're not working your muscles enough to actually start to benefit from the calorie burn and the increase in metabolism that comes when you are burning that, when you're working that muscle in a real, more intensive way. Okay. Also, a third reason is maybe you're not getting enough resistance training. Okay, and resistance training is very important to women. Okay, because women in general would tend to store more body fat. That means you have to combat it with a concerted effort to build lean muscle tissue. Okay, so that being said, do not forsake resistance training in your weekly plan. And then the other reason is inadequate dietary protein. And sometimes this can happen if you're a vegetarian. And again, there are ways that vegetarians can avoid this, but you have to be aware of what that is. You have to educate yourself if you're someone who tends towards being a vegetarian. Or it just may be that you're not eating enough lean meats. You're not eating enough of the real foods, the whole foods that we talked about that will provide you with that protein that you need. So if you're restricting your calories, and then in addition to that, if your calories not including enough of those what we call amino acids, complete amino acids, then you will have issues with being able to maintain any lean muscle that you might be working to build. Okay? So, lean muscle, very important to your metabolic rate, to your body transformation. Okay? Do not forsake resistance training because it is crucial to your results. All right, last step. Step number 5. Do not go it alone. Okay, this is one of the biggest mistakes that we find that women make when they are embarking on a weight loss effort is they simply don't realize how important it is that they have people there for them, supporting them, helping them to achieve their results. Okay, now what we have today is we got the advent of the internet, right? And we got lots of apps, and it may seem easy to be able to lose weight because there's nothing that's not available to us. We can look on our phones right now and pull up apps that we can download for free, and we can get started working out instantly, right? We can take a look on our phone and find apps that will give us menu plans that'll show us how many calories we're supposed to be taking in, right? That'll give us healthy recipes. It's all there, okay? But the issue is this, okay, and this is important. The issue is whether all this access that you have to all this information is really helping you to lose weight. Now, that's the goal, right? It's supposed to help you to lose weight. So that begs the question, why aren't we, right? With everything that we know and with everything that we're doing, and you can ask yourself this question, with all this that's available, okay, are you truly where you want to be? I mean, ask yourself that question, okay? And I want to mention this because I feel it's important that it's not about information. If it was just about information, 97% of diets would not fail, right? And that's the statistic that we have facing us. 97% of diets ultimately end in failure. And trust me, it's not because of lack of information, okay? But it's because of a lack of application. Okay, we simply have trouble acting on what we know, and we especially have trouble acting on what we know consistently. And that's why you see, particularly when you look at your year, right, that yearly cycle, what we'll find is that when the new year begins, Everyone has that commitment to doing all the things that they know they need to do, right? And then what happens is over the course of the year, what happens? We fall off, right? And then maybe, toward the spring, late spring, early summer, everyone starts to think about what? The beach, right? We're thinking about looking good in our swimsuits, looking good in our tank tops, looking good in our shorts. And what happens? People start trying to do those things that they know they need to do, right? But then what happens? The summer hits, reality hits, life hits, and it's like, right? And then what happens? You get school starting back up. Then there's that renewed commitment. I'm going to do it. The kids are back in school. I can go to the gym. I can start eating better. And then that happens for a little bit, right? And then what happens? We fall off, and then we slide right on into the holiday season. And then we got issues, right? And that's our typical pattern as we look at the year. And to be honest with you, what happens is each year we go through this same cycle, and each year we actually end up gaining more and more weight. It happens slowly, but it's certainly happening, and it happens gradually over time. And that's why, as we look at the statistics in terms of, 2/3 of Americans are trying to lose weight. 2/3 of Americans are either overweight or obese. And again, all that is just continuing to happen. That statistic's going to continue to go up. And that's where we find ourselves often. And so, from our perspective, the goal is to make yourself accountable on a consistent basis. And that is going to enable you to get the results that you deserve. And that is honestly the only way that you're going to get the results that you deserve. Everything we talked about in steps 1 through 4, those are all things that you can do. And it's quite likely that those are things that you have done at some point in time, right? If you think about it, you've probably done some of those things. You've probably done all of those things. But here we are today, right? And you still haven't quite gotten where you need to be. And the key, this is the true key, is you have to put yourself into a community that's going to, one, support you, motivate you, and encourage you. But the big key is it's going to hold you accountable to the things that you want to achieve. That's it, okay? You need to be held accountable because that's where the results happen, okay? Think about it, folks. Buy trainers, right? They purchase sessions, and with the trainer, they go to the gym, and then at some point, maybe they can't, afford to work out with the trainer anymore, and then you'll see the results that they had with that trainer go away, okay? What our aim is here at Too Good Health is to provide you with ongoing accountability, okay? But not just to give you the accountability that you want, but to give you the community that you want. The best results happen in community. And that's what we want you to know about step number 5. Going it alone is not the answer. Going it alone, doing this by yourself is just too difficult. And so if you would just allow yourself to be in a place, in a situation that's going to hold you accountable and support you in all your goals, trust me, that's where the magic's going to happen as far as your weight loss success. All right, well, I want to thank you for attending this webinar. It has been a blessing to have you. Thank you for taking the time. Again, we are Too Good Health Coaching. We are a premier virtual weight loss solution for busy women just like you. And we would welcome and invite you to look into us a little bit more if any of this resonated with you. And you might be excited about the possibility of being able to join into a community that's going to help you to eat better, help you to stay committed to your exercise goals, that's going to give you the tools and the skills and the education that you need in order to see the results that you've never seen before. And also, that's going to give you a community, a welcoming community that's so positive, but at the same time, that gives you that support and that accountability that's so important for seeing the type of results that you deserve to see. Here's our information. If you want to look into us a bit more, we would love to have you. And we thank you again for taking the time to be with us. So again, Too Good Health Coaching, Dr. Charles Barrage, thank you for joining us. And you have a great night. God bless.